Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. This is going to be a special little episode where I want to do a super quick year in review. This being the inaugural year for the podcast, just a quick walk through memory lane, as well as an announcement for the new name coming up in 2024. And I also want to just kind of restate the goal of the podcast for those of you who may be just finding the podcast and the show for the first time more recently. And then for those of you who have been followers of the show for a long time now, just to kind of restate and crystallize what I'm hoping to do with each and every guest that I have on the podcast. So to start from the top, a year in review, this has been an absolutely incredible year. And I need to thank each and every one of you, all of the followers of the show. You've been tremendous supporters. You have given me great feedback along the way. It's been an absolute blast running into a lot of you at live conferences. All in all, starting the podcast this year in February has been a lot of learnings, and it's been a ton of fun. I've had the pleasure of interviewing just absolute top-notch guests for the show from Marathon, Foundry, Galaxy, Applied Digital, Soluna, Hut 8, TerraWolf, US Bitcoin Core. I also had the chance to interview the Minnesota Public Utility Commission, the Georgia Public Service Commission. It's been an absolute pleasure and a blast for me, and to be able to speak to such high caliber guests and honestly, truthfully learn so much over the years. So to the guests, to my followers, thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. This year has been an absolute blast for me. So now on to the name announcement. So the new name for the podcast going forward is going to be called the Watts and Blocks Podcast. This is going to overlap with the goal for the show a little bit, but I'm going to be renaming the podcast to the Watts and Blocks Podcast to help better address what I'm doing with the show, and to better speak to what I'm talking about on the podcast. So Watts, I think, obviously, is to help me kind of address the energy industry, and then Blocks for blockchain and the Bitcoin mining component to the conversation. My hope is that when people see the title, that they understand what I'm going to be talking about, that they also understand that this is a little bit more of a professional interview style versus more of like a happy hour, kind of a goofy show. So really excited about the new name. Nothing else is going to change. Same format, same structure. The only thing you guys can expect is probably more episodes on a weekly basis. I am playing around with some new formats, so that'll be exciting, as well as some new content for YouTube. We do have a YouTube channel, so go check that out. It's going to be the Watts and Blocks Podcast YouTube channel. And so just to kind of touch on and wrap up with the goal for the show, my goal for the show is to be the bridge between the energy industry and the Bitcoin mining industry. From just the conversations I had before starting the podcast to being in the industry, in and around the industry, there's not a lot of communication happening between the energy companies and the Bitcoin mining companies. And I think to overgeneralize the conversation that is happening is still more or less at the level of, we're going to use a lot of power, we're going to be, a big customer on a grid system, versus speaking to more of the benefits and the positives for having a Bitcoin miner on a grid system, and what that type of flexible load can offer a utility company. So my goal, again, just simply put, is to be the bridge between the two industries. And maybe a little bit more specifically, what I want is when I have a guest on from the energy industry, that the Bitcoin mining community is learning and soaking up and taking notes on everything that they're saying, or things that maybe they're not saying. I think that that's just as important. And then on the flip side, I want to have the guests from the Bitcoin mining industry be providing valuable insights to the energy industry. Let the energy industry hear how people are thinking about their energy strategy, and just all things from that aspect. So I hope that I'm accomplishing that with these conversations. I hope that you guys, the followers, the listeners, the subscribers, even the guests, are walking away from listening to episodes with valuable nuggets of information that are helping you guys be better operators and better customers, and just all around working better together. And it would make me so happy to hear that relationships and business is being created because of the show. So if that is happening, please let me know, guys. I'd love to hear about how some connection was formed because of either a guest, or maybe you were on the podcast and that led to some new business. So with all of that being said, guys, 2023 has been an absolute blast for me. I hope that I have added a lot of value to you guys, and I'm excited to hopefully keep providing you value into 2024 and beyond. Like I said, with the new YouTube channel, the new name change, the Watts and Blocks podcast, and some of the new formats that you guys are going to see in the future as well. So with that, I hope that you guys have had a fantastic 2023, and that 2024 is just as great, if not better. Thanks, guys.